I need you. You're the first person I am asking, besides Fusa.
About this plan of yours, I have many concerns.
You know what I have to do.
Oh yes, of course, and about Fusa.
Don't worry about that. You let me worry about that. I just need you to do what you do best, and nothing else.
But she's not like you or me.
I need people I can trust. Besides, what are you going to do? Wait here to die? You're too good for that, and you know I am right.
But I know nothing of running a town. I manage drinks. The women. Sure, I do a little trading, but not at this level.
When have I ever let you down? Never.
I fear we are both in over our head. Welcome to the Tavern of Sin.
Hey everybody, I'm Castox and I am the creator of Tavern of Sin. Tavern of Sin is a story-based mod. It takes place in 867 medieval time in a fictional universe. So some of the things you are seeing will be fictional. This is not historically accurate. I am not that type of modder. A lot of the games and modules inside of Tavern of Sin have already been available to the public through various mods, such as the Tavern games. It included all my game mods and a Diplomatic Envoy and a few others. But this is the actual mod itself, where all those fabulous mods came from. And I'm going to take you on a quick tour. So the first thing you'll notice immediately is the HUD. The HUD is completely different. It's something I'm calling Quick UI. It's a very aesthetic mod that also it helps a lot of features out. A lot of it is reminiscent to the console edition of the HUD, which I actually like, with a few different things added into it, such as the character window and all that. So I'll go into that in a second. Right now, you notice that everything that's as far as your stats go are on the top left now, and I made a circle HUD portrait, which I'm very fond of. Those buttons in the top right can be used, but they're not the primary use for those buttons because now you have fancy hotkeys and a resource button that I'll talk about shortly. I really don't have a lot of time to discuss every single feature of every single portion because there are a ton of different features. However, this quick menu you can access by pressing F has all the buttons that you will need to press conveniently right there in the lower middle of the screen, along with all the other buttons such as the notifications and all that stuff, and they can be accessed quickly by pressing F to pull up that little menu. The Hud tabs can be accessed by pressing the letter V to make the window appear, and then you can rock back and forth on it with the Z and X keys. Makes it a lot easier to access them, and when you want them to vanish, you just press V, and then they're gone. The character window can be accessed by pressing the letter C. C for character. That always bugged me. So you press C and it brings up this beautiful new character window. It's very big. I love the fact that I can show off the illustrations. Paradox made a lot of great illustrations and then hid them behind a little screen. So I put everything to aspect and it looks beautiful in the back there. A couple other things you'll notice is the skill sets. I've added three new skill sets, such as charisma, luck, and gravitas. And these items I'm currently working on making a tooltip for. But these will affect different things, such as the game, such as events and decisions, and everything else included with that. You can gain or subtract some of these skill points by either traits or effects, decisions, etc., events. If you're wondering where the other stuff went, all you have to do is press this little arrow there, and there you go. You have your family, your relationships, and everything else inside that tab. In the future, there's going to be another triangle right below there that's going to have access to your rackets. That's going to give you your brothel information, your schemes, anything else that you would need that's relevant to the Tavern of Sin new modules that are being added into the game. Here's a look at arranging a marriage and then what that looks like for the rest of the world and how they can have actual negative values inside of the skill sets. One more thing you'll notice on the HUD is those 2 stars. That's kind of like a wanted level or a heat level. You get these things by having a lot of several illegal operations or operations that are looked down upon by the rest of the world. Essentially, this will grant you a small bit of prestige and money due to the operations you have up, but it'll piss all the people off around you. Mainly, they are given a casus belli to attack you based on the fact that, well, you're evil, or they'll say that you're evil, even though everybody was doing shady stuff back in the days. They'll use that against you, and they'll be able to launch wars against you and attack you based off the fact that, well, yeah, you're doing bad things. If you do have a tavern set up, you can access it by hitting F to bring up the menu and then hitting the tavern button. The tavern will lead you to the tavern. Obviously, it's not Tavern XYZ, it'll be the county that you have a tavern in. And the games available on the right will be the ones that you've actually unlocked. So this is all in debug, so I have all of them, of course. The ones that I have currently done right now are the Blackjack, Thimble Rig, and I think the Cross and Pile. Still working on 3 other games, but the majority of the newer games inside of Tavern of Sin will be tabletop games as opposed to the kind of over-the-top archery and fishing games that I've done in the past, although I might sneak 1 or 2 in here. So this is an example of what it looks like to gamble. And you saw this in the trailer, I hit and I won. It's one of the very few times that I win. But I did win that one time. You can basically bet whatever you want on there. I'm going to put a cap on it probably, but it's very easy to lose, so I don't recommend it. Diplomatic Envoy is receiving an update inside Tavern of Sin. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it on the modular side as well, but Tavern of Sin will have different things associated with it, such as a skill set to attempt an assassination by one of your envoys. That'll cause repercussions if you fail, so on and so forth. There are things that I'm experimenting with as far as Diplomatic Envoy goes. Actual Duels is another mod that's going to be inside of Tavern of Sin. So this one was on hold. I attempted to release it as a standalone, but I got some things working recently. I was held up by the fact that the animations were no longer in sync, but I solved that issue just recently, and so now this will be getting a release alongside of Tavern of Sin, or maybe a little bit before. I like to release things beforehand so that I can kind of get a sense for the bugs and have everybody kind of beta test it for me. Duels may also be a part of the mission system that I am currently testing right now. In this case, in this particular instance, stage 1 would be an intrigue trial, such as you trying to sneak around, will be a text-based adventure. Stage 2 most likely be a duel or a group fight. I am working on a turn-based combat system itself, and I showed a quick preview of what that would look like with all the different characters involved. However, I think I'm going to reduce it down to about 3 characters and being able to, move around. Similar to the chess mod that I was kind of working on. And once I put it together, I think I'll have about 3 stages, and each stage will be randomized depending on what the mission is. And things such as missions will be available on the resources tab that I'll go over in a little bit. So if you notice on the bottom middle of the screen, there's a RES. I haven't made an icon for it, but if you hit that resource tab, it'll allow you to see all the different resources in the counties. In addition to resources that are gaining the owner of said counties money for that, you can actually run little missions, and some missions will be available for you to steal some of those items, and that's what the whole mission tree is about, on top of stealing artifacts and stuff like that. Lastly, I want to go over the counties and the governments. Everything that I'm about to talk about is going to get its own video because there's just not enough time. Right now, I'm a part of a criminal government. Right now, that's generic. Some of the building names are generic, criminal centers, so on, etc., etc. But the icons and the actual flavor behind none of these are not flushed out yet. But I do have my own governments with own unique buildings, and you'll see some of those here. For instance, the gambling, the brothels, the Black Hand, the scheming building. All these things are brand new modules, essentially brand new mods within themselves. So I really don't have enough time to go into the deep detail of some of these items. I did mention it in the last ModCon. I went in depth, I think, a little bit about the brothels and how the other things worked. The gambling is pretty straight up. It's you have the games, you can open the games out to the public, and people around the world are going to test their luck. That could be good or bad for you. But each one of these items, including the government, is going to receive its own video from me because there's just not enough time to record all of this, and I don't have a big enough spot to do that. So that was about the 75% stage of where Tavern of Sin is at. Again, I didn't mention that the HUD changes with the skin of the character. So as new Paradox skins get released, or if they fix custom skinning, depending on what culture you are, it'll automatically transform the entire HUD interface to whatever culture that you're currently a part of. I am looking to release by the end of the year. I know I always say that, but I think this time things are going a little bit faster. Of course, life always comes first, and so doing that, but I will try to release by the end of the year. Hope you've enjoyed everything, and see you next time.